Very good. Try that again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Could everyone please take their seats? For those of you who know me, I am famous for the line, "It's a no-phone Joan zone." So please make sure that your ringers are off. You can take pictures, but we don't want to be interrupted by ringing phones. Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And welcome to the Schechter School of Long Island's Class of 2021 graduation ceremony! Woo!
My name is Greg Bowanek.
My name is Yehuda Brown.
And we're your hosts this evening. Well, we hope you enjoyed our entrance. The 2020 to 2021 school year has been anything but normal. So how could our graduation possibly be normal? We don't do normal.
We feel very privileged to have been chosen to host this year's graduation ceremony. Yes, nobody else applied for the job, but hey, a win's a win.
You're probably thinking, what? Greg and Yehuda are the MCs for tonight? These two schlemiels?
And if you're thinking that, you would be right.
There are many things that helped us overcome such a challenging year, but we managed to narrow that down to a nice list of 5 key points of how we survived the COVID year.
So,
drum roll please. Coming in at number 5.
Off campus. I'm gonna be completely honest. How did we stay in that building every single day for 8 hours from 6th grade to 10th grade?
I know. I think I spent more time out of school this year than, in school, which probably explains my grades.
The whole grade really owes our success to our friends at Frantoni's, Ralph's, the Vegan Bakery, and every other store near us. You are the true unsung heroes. Coming in at number 4,
the teacher's lounge. The teacher's gymnasium. What a room full of characters.
Being able to go in and socialize with all the teachers really made our life a lot better and really eased the stresses of this year.
After all, who wouldn't like walking across the room and getting a high five from a teacher and a test grade from another? Now coming in at number 3 though.
Our cars. Greg, I have a question for you. How many times do you actually show up to Mignon on time?
Okay, Yehuda, let's move on from that. I'll touch on that real quick. Let's just say having a car meant a little more sleep time.
Classic, Greg. Having our cars was a true blessing, though, and the extra mile walk every morning from our parking spots really helped wake us up. Now, coming in at number 2,
our luxurious outdoor tents. Falling asleep in class was a very difficult task this year when all 4 sides of the tent were flooding from the rain and the walls were being blown all around.
Schechter really used these new tents to crack down on cheating. Just imagine us trying to whisper our answers over the loud roar of the wind mixed with the bagpipes from St. Aidan's.
Yes, these tents really kept us on our toes and made sure we kept up with our academic integrity.
Now, coming at an easy number 1 pick,
Google Classroom. I'm going to be honest right now. I truly believe that about 75% of the teachers in this school never actually knew how to use Moodle correctly, which is why none of my homework got done.
Yeah, Greg, that's definitely the reason. But besides that, Google Classroom really did serve as a great tool for getting our work done and getting the grades back, still as slowly as possible.
And those are our
top 5 survival key points of the 2020-2021 high school senior year. It's just so annoying. To get things started this evening, we're going to sing our 2 national anthems.
Yes, and with everything going on in Israel and America as we speak, I think it's very important to keep the 2 in our hearts.
Please rise for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner
and the Hatikva, which will be led by Danielle Fruzan and Ben Hakim.
What's To be completely honest with you all,
We spent a lot of time writing this part of our script.
we kept trying to think of a way to poke fun at this person, but it was impossible.
The reason this task was so difficult for us is because this person is too nice to roast. She's so nice that she was once voted the best person to bring home to meet your parents.
In a grade full of mensches and sweethearts, this is quite the accomplishment.
She also has Judaism and Torah coursing through her veins.
A simple Dvar Torah is nothing for her.
Asking her to give this Dvar Torah is like asking Ofer to give a speech with at least 15 tangents.
It's just too easy. So please welcome.
Wait, I think I actually just thought of a roast.
All right, let's hear it.
Her hair is so... Yeah, you know what? That's all I got. Proceed, please.
All right, good try, Greg. All right, so please welcome to the stage, Madam Vice President herself,
Rachel Schlefstein.
Good evening, everyone. In this week's Torah portion, Korach staged a rebellion against Moses, accusing him of having too much power. He and his followers are swallowed up by the earth as a result of their disobedience. The rest of the Israelites were outraged at Moses and Aaron. God's response was to tell Moses and Aaron to separate themselves from the community while God inflicted a plague upon the rest of the people. Sound familiar? Then Aaron atoned for the people's sins, and the plague stopped. In the Hebrew text of this parsha, the words used are hamafkea ne'atra, which in modern Hebrew would be translated into the pandemic stopped. Throughout this year, an end to the pandemic was the only thing we could think about. We started out in quarantine, just like Aaron and Moses were separated from the community. Then we were finally allowed back into school, but we still had to take precautions, like Aaron did when he atoned for the people's sins. Now, with the vaccine and the lifting of restrictions, we are nearing the point where the plague might stop. The past year, living in the COVID world has been quite a roller coaster. When school started back up in the fall, I was so relieved that we had in-person classes and that I was able to see my friends. I'm sure Aaron and Moses felt the same way, because who doesn't want to see their friends after a lengthy separation? We can only imagine what the world will look like after the plague stops. As we slowly approach the end of the pandemic, we are also starting a new chapter in our lives. The story of Korach marks the turning point where the Israelites switch from the mindset of being slaves escaping from Egypt to the mindset of free people going into the land of Israel. They revolted because they wanted a new leader to lead them into the land of Israel, since it was a different experience from leaving Egypt. In our lives, we are switching from the mindset of being high school seniors to the mindset of incoming college freshmen. We are leaving the safety of Schechter, just as the Israelites left Egypt, a place familiar to them, to go to a new and unfamiliar place, the land of Israel. For us, college will be an unfamiliar place, a strange place to call home at all, let alone for 4 years. I suppose we'll have moments when we want to go back to Egypt, Long Island, to our real homes. That part is just natural. But unlike Korach's followers, I think that we will remain true to ourselves and our ideals, and our way into the future will just be the next part of our journey. Believing that moving forward can be the continuation of the past, not a break with our story to date, I leave you with one final thought: the wish that you will join me in trying new things and starting college with an open mind. It ended up well for the Israelites because they rejected the rebelliousness of Korach and chose to proceed from the past into the future with their eyes wide open and their values and beliefs intact. It worked for them, and it can work for us. Thank you.
This past school year has been really hard for all of us, and we are proud that Schechter made the decision to open up full-time in September when so many other schools did not.
Yeah, who needs late wake-ups or taking classes in your pajamas? So overrated.
Yes, we did have to sacrifice our sleep schedule a little, but it was worth it.
Schechter provided a safe space for us and helped us forget about the craziness happening around us.
While the whole world was fighting for toilet paper, we were living like kings and queens off our endless supply of half-ply toilet paper.
And while everyone got accustomed to Zoom meetings, we were able to see our lovely teachers in person every day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for a whole year. We are truly Schechter blessed.
We would now like to introduce someone who has a few things to say about our COVID year.
One half of our class rep duo, Shoshana Bidner.
Thank you. Good evening. What's more classic than an apple pie? When thinking of a slice of that warm, delicious, apple-filled pastry, you know it's going to be good. I mean, you know exactly what you're going to get before even taking the first bite. I could eat apple pie again and again and again and still crave more. Back in December, I found myself getting a slice of dessert, one that was perfectly cut to my desired size. Digging in with my fork, I took that long-awaited bite and nothing. I could taste absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, I had the coronavirus and had lost my sense of taste and smell. I felt the same way I did going into this school year, nervous for the unknown. When thinking of the classic senior year, you think of celebrating college commitments, an amazing prom, and for Schechter students, an end-of-the-year trip. With the COVID-19 pandemic still lurking over our senior year, we had no idea if any of these experiences would even be a possibility. The summer of 2020, I remember anxiously waiting to hear how we'd be returning to school. Would we go remote, a hybrid? Receiving that email detailing the school's plan, the one allowing all students to return to the school building, not only alleviated my anxiety, but I was happy. Being able to spend our final year at Schechter all together in school, minus a couple days here and there, is something I feel so blessed to have. At first, returning to school felt strange. Maybe it was the distanced desks, the masked faces, or having to take classes outside in the tent. Nevertheless, we were able to make the best of the situation thrown our way and create a new sense of normalcy. We had outdoor battle of the classes and a grade karaoke night. Outside of school, I would hear friends and family complain about their hybrid learning and only having the option to enter the school building once or twice a week. There are no words I could say to truly express how efficiently our school was able to make the changes to stay safe and still provide the in-class learning environment we all craved in Zoom school. As fall flew by and the snow started to fall on Wilson Park, we had an established routine and an already great way of avoiding the mass spreading of the virus. While we seniors constantly refresh our emails to wait on college decisions, the occasional heart-stopping notification from Dr. Sokol about a positive case made its way into all of our inboxes. The subject heading, COVID notification, was enough to make a pit form in my stomach. Despite how safe we were all being, having everyone avoid the coronavirus was simply inevitable. The way Schechter was able to handle each case and prevent the further spread of it allowed the school to continue on. I remember Mike one time saying that if there's one thing our grade was good at, it was getting the vaccine. Every day, it had seemed that twice as many kids got it than the day prior until everyone had got at least their first dose. I will say, though, Greg was an expert at getting people their vaccine appointments. It became his job. If you went to him and asked for an appointment, he'd get it for you the next day within 5 minutes. This and the ever-changing COVID restrictions allowed us seniors to take part in the many Schechter traditions we feared we would not have. We were able to perform our senior production of Joseph in the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat on this very stage. Although we were fully masked, you could still hear our amazing vocal talent from your screens at home. Even though we could not go to Israel, the faculty's dedication to making our trip this past week fun and memorable is remarkable. Our trip allowed us to spend our last couple of weeks as a grade all together and spending time during plenty of fun and safe activities. Our senior prom still happened, and all our time learning those dances for the show paid off when you saw us on the dance floor. Now we are here at our in-person graduation with all of our friends and family. COVID had not disappeared for good, no matter how much we wish it would. However, we have done a pretty good job of kicking it in the butt. It may not be the classic senior year we all dreamed of, but it was pretty close. Going in senseless, without even a taste of what was to come, I have to admit, this year had an amazing outcome. If you're all wondering what happened to that apple pie, I did eat the entire thing, despite not being able to taste a single bite of it. Because it's what we make of each situation that counts, and that pie was still pretty delicious to me. Thank you.
This is our graduation. So of course, this goes down as a special Schechter moment.
You're right, Greg. You know what else was a wonderful Schechter moment?
What's that?
When we presented our senior play for the whole school outside.
No, that didn't work. But our Israel trip,
No, not that one either. Rumor has it, though, Ofa's still waiting for our visas to come.
oh yeah. And for just $5,000, we could still get to Israel. Non-refundable, of course.
I have a great Schechter moment, though.
What is that, Yehuda?
Well, when Miles and Ariel came from Schechter, Queens and joined our class, I don't think they've ever regretted that decision.
Wow, yeah. It feels like they've been here for ages.
Oh, yeah. And now, to deliver the student welcome,
The dynamic duo, all the way from Queens, New York,
please put your hands together for...
Ariel Schlissel and Miles Resnick.
Good evening, fellow students, teachers, administrators, families, and friends.
At Schechter were anything but typical. For example, we've had our fair share of interesting teachers. Shout out to Mr. Keen, Ralper, and Rabbi Shafin. We had 4 different schedule formats in 4 years, a school building completely renovated halfway through high school, and a global pandemic.
Thinking back to our first 4 days of high school, we definitely should have seen all of this coming. Hours after we arrived at Camp Ramah in the Berkshires, as we were doing activities with our peer connectors, a huge storm came through. We all had to run to different places around the camp in order to be sheltered from the storm. Trees fell, the power was cut off, mini fires were started, and we weren't able to be all together for hours. The storm lasted almost a whole day, making for a not-so-typical freshman retreat. But at least we got a funny story out of it.
Even though our first experience at Schechter at the retreat did not go the way we expected, we grew to love starting our year in the Berkshires, serenading Rabbi with our beautiful karaoke, and dominating at Battle of the Classes.
Another Schechter staple are the grade Shabbatons. Our 9th grade Shabbaton was held at the beautiful Shelter Rock Jewish Center for Shabbat services and meals, and then after Havdalah, we made our way over to Bounce for a fun night of trampolines. In 10th grade, our Shabbaton was held at the Town Place Suites Hotel by Marriott. There we took part in the classic Schechter Chopped competition, where, by no surprise at all, Andrew won.
In 11th grade, our Shabbaton was set for, drumroll, mid-March 2020. However, that didn't get to happen because, a pandemic. Even though the rest of our junior year didn't exactly work out how we had hoped, senior year has been an absolute blast. We kept some of the usual traditions, like the Hebrew show and tie-dyeing our senior shirts, but we also made sure that this year was special for our grade after all we had been through. From making the landing next to the elevator the prime hangout spot, to our incredible senior prank, to handing in all of our courts papers on time. Senior year was better than we could have ever imagined.
Speaking of our Hebrew show, we're just relieved we pulled it off and got it to happen. First, we had to convince the school to even let us do a show. Then we got rained out for the scheduled performance and had to wait 3 weeks and ended up live streaming the show from the cafeteria. But it wouldn't be our grade if both shows went off without a hitch.
From the beginning of the year all the way to the end of April, our Israel trip was on, then off, then on again, then off again. Even though we did eventually have to say goodbye to our hopes of visiting Israel as a grade, we got to go on the inaugural Schechter Magical Mystery bus trip. While it was no replacement for Israel, we still had an amazing time.
Even through all the craziness of these last 4 years, we know that our grade has gotten much closer because of it. It would not have been the same or as exciting without all of the unique experiences that we have shared. But we did not get here alone. It took a village to get us up here on the stage today, and we wanted to take a minute to thank everyone who got us here.
First, to all our teachers, thank you for helping us grow into responsible adults through all your classes. The things you have taught us have carried us through these past 4 years and will continue to help us through college and beyond. Thank you to Art Mandel and Mark Kowalski for helping our grade through the college process. In a year filled with so much uncertainty about what college would look like for us, you helped to keep us calm and celebrated every acceptance we got.
Mike, without your hard work, our grade would not have had many of the fun activities that made this year as amazing as it was. To Ofra and Dr. Sokol, without you, this school would not be able to run smoothly as it does. Thank you for all that you do to ensure that every single student and faculty member is happy, and for making sure that Schechter always feels like a second home.
To all of our friends and family, thank you for celebrating with us tonight, whether you're here in person or virtually. And to our parents, thank you for choosing to send us to Schechter so we could have this amazing experience. We are so beyond grateful.
Finally, the biggest thank you to our fellow graduates. I can speak for both Miles and myself when I say that we are so grateful to have come to this school and to have become friends with all of you. Thank you for accepting us into the grade as though we had been there since kindergarten and for being the best friends we could have asked for. We will miss you all so much next year, but we know that we are off to great things.
Even though we will all be in different places next year, except you and me, I know that the bond that we all share will last a lifetime. And on that note, welcome to graduation.
Ah yes, now, the drama club.
What a spectacular group of individuals.
If only our sports teams were as successful as the drama club.
We would finally have a trophy case full of trophies, and not just blood donation banners and ribbons.
Yehuda and I actually are very familiar with the drama shows. After all, we ushered the past 4 shows these past 2 years.
And of course, I was the prestigious head usher.
Oh yes, what a group of very talented people and performers.
But don't just take our words for it.
So please, welcome to the stage the members of this year's drama club,
Who will be singing a song from this year's musical,
which had a 15-person max audience capacity.
The Theory of Relativity.
Jillian, Danielle, Miles, Maya, and Maya.
I stand on a marble that hurtles through space. Our orbits and paths are unique. Around me, the planets, they swirl and
Every year, the students of the senior class vote on which teacher should address them at graduation.
This teacher is someone who had an impact on all of us and helped us grow.
But before we hear from our speaker, we would like to introduce someone very special.
It is our privilege to introduce our faculty introducer. Yes, that's the real title.
And who might this person be, Yehuda?
Greg, can you not sense it? The aura that is being projected from this one individual?
Oh, I see it. AJ, get on stage.
No, not AJ, not AJ. Not like the muscle gym aura, a different aura.
All right, let me look again. Oh, yeah, I see it. I believe I do. Anita Aaron, please, come on the stage.
No, Anita, do not come up, please, thank you. Not the Neat Dog or the Brownies aura, but definitely someone very close to that.
Oh, say no more. Let's play some hot and cold, okay? Does he play hockey?
Warm.
Is he the school's leader in penalty minutes?
Warmer.
Did he wear neon clothes all throughout middle school?
Hot, you got it.
Okay, here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I know the man who will be calling up now. Please welcome to the stage the one, the only, Eliron Aaron.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a
Awful
bind.
country music, but whatever. On that note, good evening, everyone. So when I first met Mr. Connolly, I was in his 9th grade geometry class. So I was thinking, this is geometry, like how hard could it be? You know, it's just some angles, some area formulas. And then I walked into class and this hipster-looking guy with a man bun is my teacher. I think everyone at that point thought this class was going to be a complete cakewalk. Then came our first test. I mean, I did not expect that my grades in Hebrew would be competing with my grades in math. That's exactly what happened. And it wasn't that first test either. So I decided to swallow my pride and approach this guy for extra help. Many hours were spent learning how to properly write geometric proofs and those frustrating angle rules. You wouldn't think that time spent doing math with a person with a man bun would really help so much, but I don't think I could have made it through geometry without that extra time. Mr. Connolly has not only been a mentor in the classroom during my time at Schechter, but has also been our cross-country coach for the past 3 seasons. Now, if you think Mr. Connolly loves math, you should see his passion about running long distances. He always pushed for us to be better and to work harder. This also might be part of the reason why I maybe went to 4 practices in between the past 3 seasons. I don't know. If you think that figuring out the area of a triangular cylinder is hard, think about like running 3 miles while enjoying it. Whew. I was lucky enough to be placed in Mr. Connolly's math class twice during my time at Schechter. I really have to say, I think that pre-calc might have been the most enjoyable math class that I've ever taken. Besides talking about math, we also spoke about bowling, the stock market, and whatever else we decided to talk about that day. He didn't even get mad when I walked into class 10 minutes late holding a Wendy's bag. When we transitioned to online learning last spring, not much changed in our class. We still made our best attempt that we could to complete the Flamingo Math pre-calc curriculum. One time during class, I complained about our computer science teacher, who's actually in attendance here today, about how I really did not enjoy the comp sci class. Without any hesitation or request on my part, Mr. Connolly took it upon himself to log into our computer science class the next period. To say that I was stunned would be an understatement, especially when I was considering what effect this would have on my computer science grade. From all this, I guess you have deduced that Mr. Connolly is a man of learning, great hairstyles, and humor. We were all privileged to have him as our coach or teacher at one point or another during high school. It is now my pleasure to introduce our faculty speaker, Mr. Jeffrey Connolly. Thank you.
Good evening, Schechter community. And in particular, the reason we are all here tonight, good evening to the class of 2021. I am honored to be here with you celebrating this momentous occasion. As a math teacher, I know where commas go in between digits, but I want to thank Lori Cassell for helping me figure out where they go in between these words. I want to thank Eliran for that kind and thoughtful introduction, and for not treating it like our cross-country practices and stopping halfway. Thank you. I'm choosing to begin by saying that I am not great with introductions. In truth, I consider them at times to be overrated. I bring this up, 21, because this is one of many things that you and I have in common. For example, my first ever interaction with Ben Hakim was outside on a beautiful sunny day during one of our grade competition events. Somehow, Ben managed to spill water on me, and for some reason, Ben wasn't in an apologetic mood. Now, as an 8th grader, he had a better excuse than I do now for not being the best with introductions, but that's a story for another day. While I have stories for each of you that made me concerned for your futures at one point, I'll save the rest for my Humans of the Hallways book that doesn't have a release date yet. However, the more time I spent with you, the more those concerns faded into the background. As the first class that I have ever really worked with throughout the entirety of your high school career, I've witnessed the epitome of growth, of transformation, and simply put, of humanity. What is truly special for me about these past 4 years is the fact that I grew with you, I transformed with you, and I became a better human with you, and ultimately, because of you. I recall my first week of being employed here in a conversation that I was having with Mr. Thorgeson up at Camp Ramah. During this conversation, he told me that I looked like a security guard, suggesting that I ease up a bit. Having come from a public school, I was comfortable assuming that role, aside from that of a teacher. I came here a bit robotic, very on edge, and with one goal, and one goal only, to teach math. Fast forwarding 2 years or so, Greg Botwinick made a statement that he is quite proud of and has since repeated several times. He said, "We're the class that broke you." What he has neglected to acknowledge is that once something is broken, it can be built back up. So while Greg says you're the class that broke me, I'll say you're the class that built me. I went from being robotic to caring deeply for each and every one of you. I went from being very on edge to realizing that being relaxed does not always translate to a lack of seriousness. I went from having one goal of teaching math to having many goals, including that of building community. I know I'm making progress because on their final project last year, Fruzan, Schlissel, and Sedegat spoke about our math class being more than just that, and went on to describe it as a math community and a safe space where youngsters can thrive. You, class of 21, have helped me grow, transform, and become not only a better human, but a better teacher. Now let's talk sentence structure for a moment. In that sentence, you are the subject, the one performing the action, and I am the object, the one receiving that action. I implore you, 21, to recognize the abilities you have as young adults to be agents of change and affect others around you. I implore you, 21, to apply these abilities to other objects within a sentence. I want to further encourage you to teach others, as you have taught me, the importance of community. You're getting out of this Long Island bubble, as so many of you have described it, and entering new terrain. This June marks the end of my 5th academic year teaching at this institution. During these 5 years, you and the rest of Schechter have welcomed me into your community. You have taught me many aspects of the Jewish faith while simultaneously respecting my background and cultural differences. It's been fun to talk to many of you about some of the Italian traditions that are near and dear to me. One being the importance of food, which I think is something our cultures have in common, and how I'd sometimes rather be working on a PhD in pasta making than in math education. I bring this up, 21, because several of you have expressed feelings of nervousness about going off to college and experiencing some form of culture shock, being outside of this Schechter bubble. I look at this as you having an ideal opportunity ahead of you, one that I challenge every single one of you to not let go to waste. All you need to do is talk to others who do not look like you, who do not come from the same place as you, or who do not have similar past experiences as you. Show them the importance of community as you have shown me. Show them the beautiful parts of Judaism as you have shown me. But don't stop there. Continue to listen and be open to learning from others as well. Show them the same interest in learning something unfamiliar as you have shown me. Take advantage of this opportunity to gain new experiences and new interactions and to offer those people the same in exchange. Because at the end of the day, what truly makes this world beautiful is the way humanity embraces one another, not just during the dark times, but during the regular in-between moments as well. You'll be paying lots of money for books, but I promise you this, you can learn a lot from people as well, and most of the time at a lesser cost. For me, community is a place where we use our resources to build a longer table as opposed to a higher fence. Class of 21, we have endured a significant and difficult time of our lives together. I'd like to reflect on something that one of my favorite researchers has said. Never let a good crisis go to waste. In no way, shape, or form did you let this pandemic thwart or slow down your progress as young scholars and adults. I'm incredibly proud to have been part of a school that managed to adapt to a wildly unfamiliar setting and respond sanely to the high levels of hysteria felt throughout most of the world. Our adaptation and response connected you, the students, and us, the faculty, on a deeper level than the norm. We were literally in each other's homes for several months last year and for sporadic days and weeks this year. I'm proud of the trust, patience, and vulnerability we displayed with one another throughout the past year and a half. We did not let a good crisis go to waste. I'd like to speak about one more thing before concluding my words to you. And that is the difference between work and a job. My job is right here, being a teacher at the Schechter School of Long Island. However, my work is so beyond that. My work is to improve math education so that it serves society as best it can. My work is to show young people like you that when it comes to your potential as human beings, the limit does not exist. Now, if I ever decide to leave this place, I'm happy to call my second home, and if Ofra ever lets me, I will have a different job. I will have a different job, but my work will be the same. My work will not change. Class of 21, over the next 4 years, I urge you to not focus on simply what job you will get upon graduating, but to explore what you want your work to be. Some of you, no doubt, will not know what your work is when that 4 years is up, but know that that's all right. Don't let that discourage you. And do your best to not let someone else choose what your work is. Listen to your parents' and grandparents' advice, but ultimately, you are the one who has to decide. As I said earlier, you helped uncover my work while I was a few years past my own college graduation. You helped someone who, when I was 18, didn't believe I was capable of earning an associate's degree, let alone enroll in a PhD program. Again, for all of us, the limit does not exist. I'll miss working with all of you, except for the 6 of you who decided that in the 9th grade you were too smart for me. I'll miss having my outfits get made fun of by Miles. However, I look forward to being able to wear my cardigans next year without worrying about being told that I look like Maya. As my colleagues and I are no longer your teachers, please consider us friends and family. We're here when you need someone, and we look forward to hearing your stories and your accomplishments. You've left your mark on us and on Schechter. Now go out into the world and leave your footprints elsewhere as you begin to travel new paths. On behalf of the Schechter faculty, I'm leaving you with nothing but love and gratitude, 21.
Thank you so much, Mr. Connolly, for those kind and insightful words.
To be honest with all of you, the grade actually voted for the guys from Frantoni's to serve as the faculty speaker, but they were too busy. But yeah, very good job, Mr. C.
One of the biggest reasons my parents sent me to Schechter was that I could learn to speak Hebrew and learn all about Judaism.
Yeah, same here. Learning about our religion and culture and learning all about Israel is a huge part of our high school education.
And to show you all what we learned, Greg and I will now switch over to Hebrew for the rest of graduation.
Whoa, that seems a little above my pay grade.
Come on. I know you can do it. You're up for the challenge.
I'll pass that tempting offer.
All right. And now, we would actually like to call up two people who can give a whole speech in Hebrew.
Please welcome to the stage our Hebrew keynote speakers,
Maya Rizak and Sophie Teplitsky.
Shalom Aleichem, Ereinu Shalom Aleichem, Ereinu Shalom Aleichem, Ereinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem.
ערב טוב לכל ההורים, קרובי משפחה, חברים, חברי הנהלה ומורים. בשכבה שלנו יש תלמידים שהחלו את לימודיהם בשכטר בגן, אחרים בבית הספר היסודי או בחטיבה. פה קיבלנו חינוך כללי וחינוך יהודי, והייתה לנו הזכות ללמוד עברית. זה לא תמיד היה קל, אבל כל פועל ומילת יחס שלמדנו היו שווים את זה.
אני לא כוונתי עד כמה המורים שלנו לימדו אותנו, עד שביקרתי בישראל בפעם הראשונה. לפני הטיול הזה טיילתי למדינות אחרות בהן לא ידעתי את השפה. הרגשתי שאני פולשת, וידעתי שכולם ידעו שאני זרה. אבל בישראל הבנתי את השפה. כחלק מהטיול שלי, התנדבתי במחנה קיץ לילדים נכים. המשתתפים האחרים בטיול שלי לא ידעו עברית, לכן היה להם קשה מאוד לתקשר עם הילדים והמורים. אבל אני, ילדה שלא הבינה כמה עברית היא באמת ידעה עד הרגע הזה, יכל לדבר עם הילדים. הייתי במדינה לא שלי, ובזכות לימודי העברית הצלחתי להתחבר לילדים. תקשיבו, אני לא אומרת שאנשים חשבו שאני ישראלית, המבטא שלי נורא, אבל הם לא התייחסו אליי כלזרה.
גברת פוניאצ'ק תמיד דאגה שנדע ונלמד היטב את החומר, על ידי כך שנהגה לומר שהבוחן כולל את הכל. כשלא ידענו למה היא התכוונה בכולל את הכל, קיבלנו ציונים נמוכים בבוחן. היא כעסה עלינו בטענה שאכן תמיד יש לחזור וללמוד את הכל. גם השנה, כשגברת פוניאצ'ק הייתה בזום, היא דאגה שלא נפספס שום דבר בלימודי העברית. בעזרת טקסטים ושיחות בוואטסאפ, היא הייתה ממש מסורה ללמד אותנו, גם כשהיו לנו קשיים טכניים.
כל המורים שלנו לעברית הכינו אותנו לדבר עברית בחיי היום-יום. לדוגמה, בשיעור של מר במבל נהגו לקיים שיחות אחרי כל סוף שבוע, בהן התלמידים סיפרו מה עשו ולאן הלכו. אפילו התחלנו לדבר עברית מחוץ לכיתה. לאלו מכם שלא יודעים, הבנות בשכבה שלנו יצרו את ההרגל לדבר עברית באופן ספונטני, למשל באומני ספורט או בשיעורי אנגלית, כאשר התייעצנו בינינו על נושאים שונים. אבל בשכטר לא רק למדנו שפה. בכל השיעורים שלנו למדנו על מצבים שונים בחיים, וכיצד להתמודד איתם. על כך אנחנו רוצים להודות לכל המורים שלנו שהצבנו אותנו לאנשים שאנחנו היום.
חבל שלא יכולנו להיות בארץ ביחד, אבל אני יודעת שכאשר כל אחד ייסע בעתיד, אחרי שהמגפה תיגמר, נוכל להשתמש בידע שלנו בעברית בישראל. במשך שנים למדנו על מדינת ישראל, בשיעורי העברית, עם השינשינים וגם בתוכניות על כ"ט בנובמבר, יום הזיכרון ויום העצמאות. אף על פי שהתלוננו כל פעם כשהיו לנו שיעורי בית, כי הצטרכנו לחקור נושא חדש, אני יודעת שנעריך את זה תמיד. לכל אחד מאיתנו יש קשר מיוחד לישראל, שהתחזק בזכות החינוך שקיבלנו בשכטר.
ההצגה שלנו, שכולה הייתה בעברית, הוכיחה עד כמה למדנו את השפה. ההצגה עזרה לנו להתאחד כשכבה. הרגשנו שאנחנו פועלים ועובדים ככיתה אחת, כשכבה, כדי להעלות את המופע שלנו.
הנאום שלנו לא יהיה מושלם מבלי להודות לכל מי שתמך בנו לאורך כל הדרך. ראשית, נודה למשפחות שלנו שנתנו לנו את האפשרות ללמוד בבית ספר כל כך מדהים. נודה למורים המוסריים שלנו שתמיד קיימו איתנו שיחות במסדרונות ועזרו במהלך השיעורים. בשם כל השכבה, אנו רוצות להודות במיוחד למורים במחלקה לעברית. הם הסיבה שסופי ואני מסוגלות לעמוד כאן ולדבר בפניכם. העבודה הקשה שהשקעתם בנו כדי ללמד אותנו לא רק עברית אלא גם על ישראל ובעיקר העבודה על חיזוק הקשר והאהבה לישראל הם בעל משמעות רבה עבורנו. אנחנו גם רוצים להודות לדוקטור סוקול, לאופרה, למייק ולדניס שעשו כל כך הרבה למעננו מדי יום ביומו.
ועכשיו אנחנו בוגרים. הזיכרונות שיצרנו יחד בשכבה ובזמן ההכנות של ההצגה השאירו איתנו לעולם. לא רק למדנו שפה, שזה מרשים בפני עצמו. למדנו תרבות, כללי מוסר, נימוסים, משחק, שירה, ריקוד והרבה יותר. אנחנו ניסע את הכל איתנו לאוניברסיטה ובהמשך בחיינו. תודה רבה.
The highlight of senior year was definitely the Hebrew show for me.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. It took a lot of work, but it was worth it.
It is hard for the seniors to express how much work and effort we put into Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. But today, Yehuda and I are going to try. So enjoy these behind-the-scenes fun facts.
For instance, did you know that in order to get into his character for Joseph, Ben Hakim spent a whole month living in a remote Middle Eastern desert?
And did you know that the girls who played the narrators spent the week before our show handcuffed together? No better way to learn how to act as one.
And yes, you all saw Miles Resnick perfectly portray Potiphar. But did you know that Miles struggled with one scene?
In Potiphar's first scene, Miles had to scream as loud as he could. In order to save his voice for this scene, he did not speak once during the month leading up to the show.
What? No way. Miles not talking for a whole month? Impossible.
Yeah, that one is a little out there.
But in all seriousness, the show was an amazing experience.
And tonight, you will all get the chance to hear us sing one more time. Hopefully, the mics will work this time.
So please welcome the senior class of 2021 to reprise the song, The Finale, one last time.
סוגר כל פתח, לראות לבטח, למה ולאן, ממרחקים, כל פרי בוקע, איך עולם שוקע, לחלום מוכן, כותונת לי, צבעים האלה, צבעים כאלה, לא נראו עד כאן, ובמזרח, עולה השמש, עם עולם של אמש, לחלום מוכן. הנה חוטים, כותונת עפה אל השחור, צבעיה נעלמו בחושך בעניים.
Well, that sure brought back some good memories.
I agree.
It's funny. Every year in every senior show, there's always one male student who can really sing, but never previously revealed it. Ben Hakeem.
Oh, Yehuda, stop. No. Oh, never mind. Yes, why? Ben Hakeem, yes, wow, that voice on that young man.
Well, of course, Greg. Pharaoh did hit them notes, but Hakeem, you can really sing.
Don't forget about Emily.
Ben and Emily are not just great performers, but also skilled writers as well.
Yes, they are. Emily's writing ability is very impressive.
Her poems and prop print articles are superb.
And Ben Hakeem, he knows English. Now, please put your hands together for the English keynote speakers.
Emily Bornstein and Benjamin Victor Hakeem.
In the United States, there are 347,264 people named Emily. The year I was born, it was the most common baby name. In all of my 13 years at Schechter, I have been the only Emily, but not just because I was the only person with that name. One of the most incredible things about our school is that none of us are just a number or a name in a crowd. We have each been taught to embrace not only what is unique about ourselves, but what makes each of our classmates special. For example, any one of us could tell you that Shoshana keeps a secret stash of Chick-fil-A sauce in her car. We all know that Greg loves to play Billy Joel songs on the piano, and that Eliran had an affinity for neon-colored clothing in middle school. In another environment, or at another school, these little quirks that we all love about one another might be labeled weird. At Schechter, though, we don't really care. In fact, we are almost totally unconcerned with normal high school pressures. Our school is kind of like the end of the Breakfast Club, where they all realize that they can be friends in spite of their differences. But because we have all grown up together, we never really had to learn that lesson the hard way. It has been ingrained in us by our teachers from the time we waddled through Schechter's doors as kindergartners. Some have compared Schechter's tight-knit and protective community to a bubble. But that implies that nothing comes in and nothing goes out. I think that Schechter's community is more like a cocoon. We are allowed to grow and develop in a safe and comfortable environment. And when we're ready, we emerge as confident, loving, and mature individuals with the capacity to embrace both ourselves and others. It is always hard to leave a place where you feel safe and happy. But there is so much out there in this world for our class to achieve. Andrew needs to graduate from Princeton and become a world-class surgeon. Isaac has to somehow one-up Elon Musk. Gabby has lacrosse games to win at UChicago. In spite of all that there is to be excited about in our futures, there is also a lot of uncertainty. Will we have in-person classes next year? Will we be able to go out and make new friends? This year, we have adapted to so much uncertainty and change. I believe that we are fully prepared to continue pushing through whatever obstacles might be thrown our way in the future. And it is a great comfort to know that when things get hard, we will always have one another to lean on. In college, I hope that we continue to embrace the people around us the way that we have embraced one another. If each of us can bring even a little bit of the Schechter community to our college campuses, we will have changed them all for the better. We are moving on to places where we might not always feel so unique or special or different. At Penn, I will certainly not be the only person named Emily. But I will always be grateful for the opportunity to have become who I am alongside some of the most amazing and special people I know. It is because of you guys that I step into the real world as the best possible version of myself. So thank you, Schechter, for allowing me to grow up as the only Emily and for giving me the confidence to be myself in a crowd of them next year. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. 13 years at Schechter, and it all comes down to this. Though I knew that one day we would all graduate, I could never actually picture the moment in my head, probably because I always had 3 tests or essays due for the next day. Thank you very much. As I'm sure all of you know, the education at Schechter is unparalleled. Not purely because of the rigorous courses and curriculum, but because of the inspirational figures that led each one of those classes. Recently, my college counselor, the beloved Mark, said something that really stuck with me. He said, "The best kind of teacher is not the one who makes you memorize the material through countless assignments, but it's the one who inspires you to learn it on your own. Because isn't that what teaching's all about? Inspiration?" That's exactly what the teachers at this school do. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of the teachers for truly inspiring our grade and shaping the people we've become today. Thank you. Now, I'm not going to expose my entire grade right now because shockingly, we weren't all perfect students. But we did all generally like to have a little fun in our classes. Just a quick example, I like to joke that Miss Poniachek has no depth perception. In class, when we were all in person and not on Zoom, every few minutes the Honors Hebrew class would move their desks back about an inch. So, as the class went on, we would slowly move farther and farther away from where Pony was sitting at the front of the room. By the end of class, Pony would say, "Why do I feel like I'm yelling to reach you all?" And we would just shrug our shoulders and say, "Toda Amara," and walk out of class. Pony's lack of depth perception is just one of the many reasons why we love her. I could really go on for hours reminiscing about the fun ways we interacted with our teachers in class, but I'm just going to run through a few details that I've learned about our teachers that many of you may not know. For example, Mr. Itzkowitz is part of an elite water volleyball team, and quite frankly, I'm a little insulted that he hasn't yet invited me to play. Mr. Thorgerson paces so much in class, he must be like a top-tier Fitbit member because he always makes sure to get at least 20,000 steps in as he teaches. But in truth, I know I speak for the entire senior class when I say that we sincerely love and appreciate all of the teachers in this school who have helped us and guided us over the years. One thing that Schechter presents to its students that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else is the accessibility to teachers. If a student needs extra help about a certain subject matter, there's nothing limiting them from walking into the teacher's room, or the gym, I guess, and approaching said teacher. I know that this is an incredible advantage that Schechter has granted us, and we'll all use it as we eventually approach our professors in college to ask for help. There's something just surreal about being a senior and graduating during this crazy time. I know that not many of us really expected to have a Hebrew play this year because we started talking about it when we were still on Zoom, and it just didn't seem like a reality. But we were clearly proven wrong because did you guys see AJ in that thing? Man, he killed it. That note he hit at the end makes me think voice acting is still a possible career choice. Of course, aside from bodybuilding. Looking back, high school was a wild ride. From the actual countless inside jokes I've made with my friends to calling an emergency BC Boys meeting before an important calculus test, there's no way I could ever forget my experiences as a Schechter student. Now, I have a tendency to get a little cheesy sometimes, so don't tease me too harshly. I'm looking at you, Yehuda. I truly cannot thank this school enough because I know it has granted our grade opportunities that would have been unimaginable somewhere elsewhere. And though it took some time, I believe that the connections and friendships that we have gained here will last a lifetime. To the graduating Schechter class of 2021, there is endless opportunity and possibility out there. So let's show the world who we are and truly make a difference. Thank you.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
So by that logic, 10 pictures is 5,000 words, and 1 video is 1,000,000 words.
Wait, where'd you get those numbers from? That does not sound right.
Hey, I took learning to look for 5 years. I think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to art and its point system.
Oh yeah, that's true, sorry.
A few weeks ago, I saw a post on Instagram that said, if you could buy a DVD full of you and your friends' funniest moments for $1 million, would you?
Oh, I definitely would. And that's saying a lot because I am a huge mooch.
Shoshana has been working so hard to make a video montage that is truly worth 1,000,000 words. A video that sums up all of our years at Schechter.
From kindergarten bowl haircuts to senior year fades.
From tall baby AJ to just as tall grown AJ.
Please direct your attention to the large screen.
And sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got trouble, and I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, big and stronger too, maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. just stand and stare. Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction. I'm a sorry sucker and this happens all the time. I find out that everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her, and then she made my lips hurt. I could hear the chit chat. Take me to your love shack. Mama's always got a backtrack when everybody talks back. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah. Tried to teach just hanging by a thread. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay.
Thank you again, Shoshana, for putting together that video for us.
Those videos, yeah, let's hear it. Those videos really defined who we were as a grade and as people.
Unfortunately, though, something was not caught on video that was very important to us.
The election count for the high school government.
Listen, President Zucker did a phenomenal job, but was it actually his job?
Yehud and I got kicked out of the ballot room 3 times because we knew something was going down in there.
We even saw Mike hauling a bag full of papers to a paper shredder truck when it came. What exactly were you doing, Mike?
Okay, careful, hold on. Okay, he isn't our president anymore, but he's got one more speech to make. So everyone, please put your hands together for the president.
Who actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah, President Andrew Zucker.
Good evening. My name is, as they said, my name is Andrew Zucker, and I'm the outgoing president of the SSLI student government. In the remaining few hours I have left in this position, I want to address my fellow classmates on this auspicious occasion. When we were children, Dr. Seuss inspired us to succeed. As he said, "Always remember, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you've ever imagined." 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. We were all born to stand out and be our own selves, but we were also born with a sense of community. This year, the educational theme was communal responsibility, and together, the class of 2021 has cared for each other like never before. Returning to school this year was not the typical experience. The 2020-2021 student government assumed leadership while on Zoom in May, and in the fall, we came back to school masked and distanced. We needed a way to ensure that the Schechter community remained strong. It then dawned on me that there was no better way than having people play a school-wide game of word assassin in the halls, schmoozing and killing. What a perfect combination. One of the most memorable initiatives by the student government this year occurred on our first day back after President's Week. The executive government is definitely very appreciative that I forced them to sleep on the Schechter floors to end their relaxing February break. We didn't play Schechter Olympics, make popcorn, or watch Melissa McCarthy's The Boss for no reason. It was only to wake them all up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We then spent the following hour and a half cooking too many pancakes to count. Because who doesn't love pancakes? We want to give everyone a warm welcome back to school and show our appreciation for all of the students' contributions to Schechter. I like to think that the student government is the spine of Schechter High School. We provide everyone with support and keep the student body engaged week after week. This year, I proposed the first ever ratified amendment to the student government constitution. Yes, it exists. The interim executive cabinet is composed of extremely talented individuals who excel in program development, peer engagement, and management. The creation of the executive cabinet will ensure that community gatherings formally facilitated by the Tzibor Club and special activities like the sports councils, pep rallies are able to continue to be calendar staples. In a few months, my classmates and I will not be returning to the vibrant community at Schechter. Instead, I might be sitting at home in front of my computer on Zoom, spending thousands and thousands of dollars to get my college experience. You are all just lucky no one has to visit me in Kunshan, China. You're welcome, Ima, for my having saved you $2,000 each trip. And as many of us sang when we moved up from middle school, as we go on, we remember all the times we had together, and as our lives change, come whatever, we will still be friends forever. Vitamin C's words embody our commitment to each other. The past 4 years, we formed relationships that are built that are built to last a lifetime. We will come back and reunite because of our shared experiences and upbringings. We will return to Schechter and give back to this community that has made us into the global citizens that we are today. It is my hope that the leadership skills I gained as being school president will carry me forward into other acts of leadership and tikkun olam in the future. Thank you.
Keep thinking that it's not goodbye. Keep on thinking it's our time to fly. And this is how it feels. As we go on,
All right, thank you for coming out here tonight, everybody.
Wait, what about the gifts?
Dude, we don't have gifts.
Don't worry, Mr. T taught us some really good skills. Thank you, Mr. T. All right, we actually do have a gift tonight, and it's a big one too.
Okay, now please welcome to the stage now with this gift that totally does exist.
Which is the best one in Schechter's 30 years.
71 years.
Make it a top 10 gift then.
Yes, please put your hands together for the man, the genius,
Jacob Surfati.
Wow, I can't believe we're finally graduating. Before we all head on our merry ways and move on to the rest of our lives, I want to take a moment to thank Schechter and acknowledge everything the school has done for us. Schechter has given us so much. In addition to the outstanding education we received, Schechter has provided a family we can rely upon, a home we can always return to, and countless memories that stick with us for years to come. I will never forget the fun times we had as we started the elementary school Virtuoso Piano Club, the non-stop barrage of jokes we made as we prepared the education-themed rock song, I Love My Teachers, for our middle school graduation. And I definitely won't forget my debut as an athlete as a part of the Schechter varsity soccer team. I know, I'm surprised too. For all of these incredible moments and the countless others, all of the fantastic faculty members that guided us throughout the years, and all of the lifelong friendships we forged along our journey, we want to say thank you. And to formally express our gratitude, the class of 2021 has decided that it is about time that we give something back to the school. After much consideration, we chose a gift that will forever remind the Schechter community of our grade. Now, some of you may recall the massive Gaga boom. In case you don't know, while we were in elementary school, Gaga became an insanely popular sport, especially among our grade. We used to play all of the time, including during gym class, during recess, after school, and even at a bunch of birthday parties. While we don't play as often nowadays, we keep the tradition by playing every year during Battle of the Classes and treating it as one of the most serious and competitive events. As our gift to the school, we decided to allow future generations to enjoy Gaga just as much as we have by providing the materials to play the sport as it's meant to be played. If you haven't already figured it out, we're donating a custom-made Gaga pit as our class gift. Yeah. This Gaga pit will attract new students to the sport while providing a more fair environment for the game, eliminating many of the issues we currently have with our makeshift Gaga pits, such as falling walls, and openings between the walls, and all that stuff. Next year, when Gaga rises once again, don't forget to think of us. Thank you so much.
As our time here in the Bima comes to a close, we'd like to take this time to thank some people.
Yes, Rabbi, you can wake up now. The graduation is almost over.
First, we'd like to thank all of our teachers for being there for us throughout all of our high school years, and some even in our middle school years.
Yes, time really does fly. I still remember when I was in 6th grade walking in, not being able to see anything. Was it because I was short? Maybe. Was it because I had 25-inch long hair? Maybe that too. But definitely something to remember.
We would also like to thank our coaches for helping us have successful seasons in the past years, and especially this year.
Yes, thank you to all the coaches for never cutting us and always working to create time for practices where at least half the team showed up. Quite a turnout.
But now, where are we headed after graduation? And how do we get into these schools? I'll tell you how. Mark and Art.
Yes, Mark and Art, thank you guys so much for working tirelessly to push us to apply to these schools, work hard, and just for being the kind of people we could come and talk to whenever we needed it. I swear to God, I don't know how I would do this college stuff alone, and I'm pretty surprised I even did it with you guys.
And that's coming from a guy who had 20 free periods in 1 year.
It was 22.
My bad. We'd also like to really thank our family and friends for always being there for us at home or at school whenever we needed it.
I'll say this one on behalf of the whole grade. Thank you, family, for paying for this Schechter tuition. Definitely worth every penny, and man was it a lot of pennies.
And finally, we would obviously like to thank all the administrators for their hard work as well.
And of course, the one and only,
Mr. One School, One Building,
the Boston man.
Please welcome our head of school,
Rav
Hazan,
Dr.
Scott
M. Sokol.
Good evening. Good evening, Schechter families. As Rachel taught us just a few minutes ago in this week's Parsha, we witness a failed coup attempt by Korach and his followers. Korach is not unique in history, though. Indeed, I'd argue that most difficult situations bring with them both complaints and complainers. In life, there are those who point out problems, and there are those who work to solve them. And actually, both roles are important, the Korach situation notwithstanding. In rare cases, those people who point out our problems may also be the ones who actually solve them. And when that happens, we call those people leaders. This year, you, our 2021 graduates, have been true leaders, as have our faculty and our staff. Together, one might say we've taken a whole bunch of lemons and created what was a somewhat tartar lemonade than usual, but still quite sweet in its finish. At least that's one metaphor to describe this year. For me, though, the image that I prefer to reflect upon is, not coincidentally, also from this week's Parsha. Towards the end of the story, when Aaron's leadership, like that of his brother Moses, is being questioned, God gives a sign to the people by having the dead wood of Aaron's staff revive and blossom. From what appeared to be an inert, lifeless stick of wood emerges flowers and almonds. We might imagine the flowers represent beauty and the almonds sustenance. In life, we know that we need both sustenance and beauty. In this respect, I'm especially proud of you, our 2021 graduates, for managing to effect both sustenance and beauty this year out of what appeared to be a lifeless stick of wood. More importantly, though, we are all so excited to imagine and ultimately be privileged to witness what fruits and flowers you will yet create. I not only pray for you to continue creating, but also to continue to partner with God, with one another, as you move on to new vistas of opportunity. Just remember when you do, that we in your Schechter family are here not only to hear about your great works, but to continue to help in any way we can. Chizku v'imtzu, continue to be strong and brave. And now, speaking of helping in any way we can, it's my great pleasure to introduce the #1 helpmate for all of us at Schechter, Associate Head of School, Ofer Hiltzik.
My dear seniors, where do I begin? Last year, when you were freshly minted juniors, could you have imagined sitting at your Passover Seder and realizing that you were about to live through what was to become, most literally, an 11th plague? I suppose that most graduation speeches are about the pandemic this year, and there is certainly a shared experience among us. As students, You were cheated in so many ways. Even last year's seniors had experienced most of their high school years without masks. You, however, you faced a different reality. It has not been easy, but you took what the universe gave you and created a senior year that has been worthy of a time capsule. With the understanding that nothing was going to be typical, you managed to create a different normal and display the spirit of Schechter every day. Our doors opened and stayed opened with the rare times of Zoom from home order. As much as the faculty succeeded in giving you in-person education, you still knew how to seamlessly switch to Zoom at any given moment. And so you carried on with homework, and boy, did we know we have, college applications, student government, clubs, sports. You might not have had a gym this year, but you had a field, and with that came battle of the classes. You all found places to hang out, though I must admit, keeping you all socially distant became a challenge. AP exams returned at full strength, though most regions were canceled. Lucky you, you did not have any regions, so hardly this year. There might not have been an Israel trip, but you just returned from a fun senior trip nonetheless. Yes, nothing was typical this year, but look at what you have become, possibly because of what you have been living through. You are all politically savvy, possibly even passionate. Some of you were old enough to vote in November, and all of you seem to be aware of history and your part in it. Most of us don't know when history is being made, except when momentous events happen. But being aware of history because you're wearing a mask or getting vaccinated and carrying a card in your wallet, well, that is something different. This year has added to your life story for sure. And of course, your life story becomes part of Schechter's story, which is why every year I stand up before a senior class and try to connect that class to our school's history. But you, class of 2021, you are part of a global history, part of the world order, or disorder, depending on your level of optimism. You have particular skill that no class before you can claim as much as you can, an ability to adapt without sacrificing your learning. How many mornings did you wake up not knowing what the day would bring? It is a cliche. You are those salmon swimming upstream against odds. But that's when you, salmon, became lox and you bring the bagels, right? You adapt. Someone right now is writing a new chapter that will one day be added the history textbook your own children will read in their US history class. And you can say, yes, I lived through one of the most troubling times turbulent times in our country's history. What do you think of that? How have you internalized it all? There are questions with no answers at the moment because they are fluid. But I know you will be fine. No, I know you will thrive because of how you have proven yourselves not only through the bigger picture of high school, but through the particular lens of the past year and a half. Just look at the colleges to which you have been accepted. Next year, you will be on real campuses, hopefully without masks. I couldn't be prouder or more hopeful. Now, let me say a word about our faculty that is sitting to your right and to my left. I think you would agree that they have all played such important roles in your growth as student, as people, and I consider them the best of the best. Some of them, to be frank, have been forced to confront technology, but are now experts on breakout rooms and sharing screens, with maybe a little help from you now and then. They too have adapted. But I reserve a special word for our beloved Sarah Poniachek. Of course, the Hebrew play this year was as memorable as ever. Sarah, these wonderful students are part of your legacy here, and I'm certain they will do you proud. Know that you are forever part of our Schechter family. Toda. So seniors, you are part of an uncommon group of graduates at most unusual moments for the world. A year ago, the planets were just not aligned. They were in disarray. But you are the North Stars, able to find your direction. I could not have felt more joy than I did Sunday night when I attended pre-prom and then prom. There you were dancing with each other, with last year's seniors, with next year's seniors. Last night, you realigned the planets. You purged the 11th plague. And I could go on telling you about how I felt. But then, when I was reading the proof of the last edition of Paupering before the end of the school year, I was struck by Sophie's parting words as editor-in-chief. Here are her words. There are memories that I cherish now, that I will probably forget, but they are not the impactful ones. I keep telling myself that the important memories, the memories that shaped me, won't just disappear. I'm lucky enough that even though I don't have mementos to cram into my box of memories from my time at Schechter, I've made memories that I know will last a lifetime. Thank you for those words, Sophie, because you encapsulated exactly what I wanted to say. This class of 2021 was surely giving me memories that will last a lifetime because you are vibrant, inclusive, and accomplished. I hope you go out to the world. I hope you go into the world and help change it for the better. And know that we at Schechter will always be part of your memories, part of your world, which is finally started to reorder itself. Mazal Tov, graduates. I am so proud of you.
And now, graduates, will you please rise and go to your assigned place, designated spots for the presentation of diplomas and gifts. Yes, we'll go from the middle, but we have to get the other mic. Where's the other mic? So we'll move it. So, it should be. Yes, that's the wrong. No, it's on. Over. Yep. And here we go. Number one. Eliran Aaron.
Okay. Jesse Bernstein.
Shoshana Bidner.
Gregory Button. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Emily Bornstein. I'm sorry.
Emily Bornstein. And now, Gregory Botwinick. Well, you forgot Mrs. Got the Jewish gift.
Yehuda Brown.
Joshua Catrona.
Benjamin Feynman.
Danielle Frizan.
Benjamin Hakim.
Michael Kahn.
Gabrielle Kiva.
Shira Kohler.
Jillian Leeds.
AJ Ramanan. Come on down.
Miles Resnick.
Maya Rizak. Alexa Senegat. Jessica.
Jacob Safati.
Rachel Schlefstein.
Russell Strachan.
David Suad.
Isaac Taub.
Maya Tapitsky.
Sophie Teplitsky.
And Nachon Haviv, Andrew Zucker. Graduates, please rise, graduates. And I will advise you to move your tassel from right to left. Woo-hoo! Stay standing. And family and friends, if you'd like to join them standing and join me in reciting the Shechianu for this moment. Please rise if you feel like it or not, as you wish. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Praised are you, God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us in life, sustaining us and allowing us to reach this most special time. Amen. And now, our families can sit, but our graduates stay standing. I'm going to ask our faculty to now please come down and to form two lines of welcome and of ma'avar for our graduates. So we will wait for our faculty. After our faculty come down, our students are going to walk among them. We're going to ask families to please wait till all the students and the faculty and us officiants up here have recessed before you do so yourself. Graduates, please.
Just a reminder to everyone to please keep your masks on while you're indoors. Thank you. And mazel tov to all the graduates and their families.